Hello there, how you all doing today? It's Alan Evans here, back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about why I think Resident Evil 7 is better than Resident Evil Village. Now let's talk about it. So no, don't get me wrong, I do think Resident Evil Village is a good game, but in terms of like scary aspects, it wasn't very scary at all, was it? Not like Resident Evil 7, because that it's more, I don't know, it just seems a bit more atmospheric. It just seems more bit more like scarier, especially with Jack Baker. When you're in the Baker house and you're getting followed around by Jack Baker and you're trying to hide from him. And, you're trying to get away from him and all that. And I don't know, it's just because I know this is, they're both in the first person perspectives and they're both the same character, Ethan Winters. And but there's things I didn't like about Resident Evil 7, mainly like the enemy types just being, repetitive and a bit, they're the same. Then again, that also can be said for Resident Evil Village. The enemy types were still the same, the werewolves and how that come about. And Lady Dimitrescu, or Dimitrescu, however you want to pronounce her name, other than her big bulging double D's, they're difficult to ignore. Um, there was just, she wasn't as intimidating. She wasn't really that like intimidating. I found that Mr. X in Resident Evil 2 remake was more intimidating. But but Jack Baker, when he's stalking you in the Baker house, that was quite intimidating when he was following you around with a shovel, and then especially when you go to try and get away from him, and then you think you got away from him, and then he just bursts through the wall, and that was a bit of pretty awful, but like, oh my god, and but what I think is that in terms of the story, I think the story in Resident Evil 7 was a little bit better, because I know you got to look for your daughter Rose, and it got to the point where you just didn't really care about the story. You didn't really care about the story. All you cared about was just getting to the next part in the game, and it just didn't feel. Well, I don't know. It just didn't. Resident Evil Village didn't really make me feel like how Resident Evil 7 made me feel when I played it for the first time. It was just, it just felt, a lot more like creepier, more. I don't know how to say it, but it's because this didn't really feel creepy at all. It just felt a bit like action, like focusing on. There's lots of just action orientated and all that. So there's that's one of the downsides. But some of but what I will say for this Resident Evil Village, I'm talking about the upsides now. Some of the upsides is you get weapon customization, which you didn't get in this one, in Resident Evil 7. But you get some weapon customization. You get a merchant called the Duke. So in the officers use some upgrades to different weapons and whatnot, and ammunition and stuff like that. So that's really cool. That's a nice touch. And also, and what I did like is that the Duke in the Village, what he did is he had more dialogue rather than the merchant from Resident Evil 4. where he just said, "Oh, what you buying? I got some rare things on sale, stranger." And that was it. But the Duke in Resident Evil Village, he's got a lot more to say, and also, and he has actually got a lot more to tell you in about the story and about what's going on. How the Duke knows this information, I'll never know. We'll never know. But I just think that, but in terms of it being a bit scary and a more atmospheric and a bit more creepy, I'll say Resident Evil 7 definitely gets my vote on that in terms of like jump scares and stuff. But this one tried to do the same with the jump scares and that tension and atmosphere and in that vulnerability feeling, but it just didn't. It just felt just a bit more like an action shooter rather than a Resident Evil. It didn't really feel like Resident Evil compared to what we're used to, and yeah. So I mean, but don't get me wrong. I do think that they're both great games. Don't get me wrong. I do like them both, but I think they've all got their pros and cons. But I do think that they're just really. But I do think Resident Evil 7 gets my vote in terms of being scarier than Resident Evil Village. So that's all really I was going to say. So my top vote is, in terms of scariness, Resident Evil 7 gets about 8.5 out of 10. And I'll rate Resident Evil Village probably, in terms of like scariness, I'll probably give it about, I'm going to be generous, I'll say 5.5 out of 10. That's going to be my final verdict on that. So that's all I'm going to say really. So it's a short video, so let me know down in the comments which Resident Evil you thought was the scariest. Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil Village. Let me know that down in the comments down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, reactions, vlogs, some game streams, I'll stream on YouTube as well. So if you want to check that out, do feel free to. And hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notified and upload more videos. Till then, be safe, and I'll see you again in the next one. Thank you very much. Bye for now. Cheers.